Thanks for
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Main Street Board of Directors meeting, June 14th, 2023 meeting. Welcome, everyone. We have a few missing today. Meredith will not be here, Devaney, Tara, and Jeff. So we do have a quorum. And so you have done roll call? All right, excellent. Oh, there's Jerry. All right, in front of you, you have an agenda for this meeting, and if you would like to add anything to the agenda today, let me know right now. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
support.
There's a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. We have an agenda. All right, we have minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one from our, did we not approve one of these?
We didn't approve one.
Oh, I see. All right, so we have the minutes. We'll do it each at a time. The April 19th minutes in your packet. Is there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes into the record.
So moved.
There's a motion, there's support, and there's support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. All right, we'll move on to the next set of minutes from our May 10th, 2023 meeting. Is there any corrections, additions, or anything we need to delete? I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes into the record. There's a motion. Is there support? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. All right, thank you. We have both of those sets of minutes from April 19th and May 10th now in the record with unanimous vote. So we'll move right to the Main Street Directors Report. Jay.
First thing to talk about today, back to the bricks. It was a great event. They were raving about us, how well they were able to move in and out throughout the event, how well organized it was. Hats off to DPW, Parks, Michelle, the city, APD, and Adrian Fire Department for all of their support, assistance. It was a long event to plan. We started planning in October of last year, and there were some hiccups along the way. Michelle's got some pictures there, and we'll have some other pictures coming in as well as we get those available. But it was great. We had probably about 250 cars total. We were expecting a little more, but there was some of the Back to the Bricks cars were missing along the way. Probably had about 4,000 people downtown for that event. Stores had, stores record sales again, and now just every time there's an event like this, they just seem to go beyond they were the previous time. So overall a great event. It was exciting. Glad it's done. And a lot of work went into that, and I put in 10 miles walking that afternoon. So next thing is the mural project. I'm working on the document for that, but I wanted to keep it just on the agenda so we keep talking about it. Mainly I keep talking about it to keep it top of mind and sharing with you. Hope to get the design committee meeting within the next week so we can start setting some guidelines and parameters for that steering committee. Last thing I want to update you on is Storyville. So when we had First Fridays in June, we had Phil Ike from Storyville come in and do some interviews of local businesses. Dusty and I were interviewed for a podcast that took place that was recorded both for audio and video. We did that in Farvers at the Croswell. Then Phil went to 4 area businesses. He went to the gallery shops and talked to the sealers. He was at Sauce. He was at Brad's location and he also went to Chalmers. And Bill is a great guy, very excited, does some great work. I've started following him on Facebook just so I can watch the work that he does in his storytelling. So what he does is he comes in and he'll interview the stakeholder, whether it's a business owner, property owner, whatever there is, and he records it. And then he goes back and does some creative editing, doesn't change anything, but just helps it flow a little bit, the story flow a little better, and does some photography. We will be getting all of the photos he took. We will be getting the stories and the podcast. He stayed here. He got here at 2:00 on that Friday and left about 7:30 and spent a couple hours downtown taking photos as well. So all of that will come to us. The MEDC will be using it as well to help promote Main Street communities on their website and for us as well. Again, free technical service from MEDC through Michigan Main Street. So I can't tell you how important those things are and how important it is for us to be part of that organization. That's all I have. Thank you.
No, we found out something about sauce in that process, didn't we?
Yeah, so for those of you that may not know, Sauce will be one of the best places to eat in America this year on the Food Network. So they're coming in the end of June to film, and it's slated to be broadcast in August. So that will bring a lot of new visitors to our community as well.
And just Phil was just outstanding, and it just continues to resonate with me that the technical assistance that Main Street provides is extraordinary. And it would have cost us a lot of money to have somebody do what he did. He was enamored with our community. He was just absolutely blown away, you could tell. And that's why he stuck around so long. He wasn't supposed to be here that long. He just enjoyed what he was seeing and all the development and everything that's taken place and the momentum that we have. So very good stuff. So thanks for getting that together for us, Jay. Any questions for Jay? All right, we'll move on to the Finance Committee report. Brad.
Yep, so I distributed all the revenue expenditure reports with some summarized numbers at the very last third page. Also indicating some projections for the rest of the fiscal year, which are the mostly red boxes there at the bottom. Then also the more interesting one is a projected fiscal year end summary page, which has the large type, this one right here. This is basically a rundown of where we should be at the end of June. You can see that we have a very, very small deficit, on track for a very small deficit, about $1,100. And also gives you projected assets on 6/30. This is taking into account pretty much everything that we have that will be coming out before the end of the fiscal year. And again, so we have about $283,000 in the bank by June 30th. I did a little, comment section here. Basically, my projection from last year was pretty true. We basically broke even this year. And my recommendation is that we continue to focus on fundraising, because if we don't, then any net negative project that we will take on will be deficit spending next year. In fact, we will probably take on a slightly larger deficit just because of the fact that the farmers market director that we hired is effectively not really part of half of this fiscal year. So just some recommendations. The other thing is that you'll notice that next year, the refuse line items will be gone from our budget, I believe, from what I understand. So like the total revenues and total expenses will be reduced by, $47,000 a piece. And the other thing that to take note of is just that the $282,000 total revenues that we see, like, that's slightly misleading because we transfer money from one of our funds to another and that shows up as revenue. So just so that everybody knows, when you take away the 46th from the refuse and then you take away that $37,000 that we transfer to and from those things, our actual total revenues for this DDA are hanging around $200,000 a year right now. So that's just slightly misleading because it shows up as an expense and a revenue. on those line items. So just something to take note. So our budgets aren't huge here, right? It's 200 grand a year and we're spending every dollar of it.
Any questions for Brad? It was a great report. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial report into the record.
Support.
There's a motion and support. Is there further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you. Greg, are you on? You're on screen.
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning.
A few things to mention that I think will be of interest to the Main Street Board. Next week, City Commission pre-meeting agenda, we're going to discuss street closure technique downtown. Matt has been researching different options for that would be better than parking municipal vehicles to secure the intersections. He's identified some very affordable manual bollards that can be, they essentially are installed in the street and then pulled up by hand when a closure is needed. So he's going to explain that option to the City Commission next week. Our meeting's actually on Tuesday night because of Juneteenth. Reminder, City Hall is closed Juneteenth also. So excited about that. You know, I mean, our events have gone in general very well downtown, but we continue to have a problem with people wanting to drive through them. And, you know, regardless of the technique that we use, unless the street is fully blocked off in a fashion that somebody can't move, then we see people taking it upon themselves to move the barricades and try to drive through for one reason or another, whether it's people who get tired of being in the car show or, you know, somebody who got their car trapped downtown. Both those things happened during Back to the Bricks. Very dangerous situation. Of course, the principal reason we wanted to secure those intersections is for safety against, you know, random acts. But both are really issues. And, you know, well, it appears that you know, things are being taken care of pretty smoothly, and they are. A lot of city time and expense goes into those events that is not reimbursed by the event organizers. That was a decision that the City Commission made, that we wanted to subsidize them. But this will be a technique which will be simpler and easier to implement, and hopefully not require as much staff time to set up and take down and monitor events. So excited about that. Like I say, really a great price, it appears. You know, probably under $100,000 we can do all the intersections downtown that we close regularly. So that's the good news. The bad news is some other projects downtown have not come in quite so affordably. We just bid out one new dumpster enclosure for the Church Street parking lot. So that would include one dumpster, one recycle bin, and room for a grease trap in there. And the installed price of that came back at $77,000, which was far more than we had hoped. We're taking a minute to pause and consider our design and our options for that. But by the way, with regard to downtown trash and trash in general, if you're interested, the summer tax bills this year will, for the first time, have a line item. Well, it's not a tax, it's a fee, but there will be a line item on there for refuse, whether downtown or residential, that will make it easier for people to have their bill in one place. The escrow company can take care of it, as the case may be, and we won't have to incur postage for separate mailings, which is on the order of $10,000 a year. So those are going out with the summer bills this year for the first time. And then on the other item that came in substantially, well, we hadn't really planned for it at all, was the cost that Consumers Energy wants to lay on us for actually connecting the power to the work we've done at the farmers market for food truck power and vehicle charging stations over there. And Jay, do you recall the number? I don't recall the number off the top of my head.
I believe it was $10,700 is what they were going to charge.
Right. So I asked their community affairs person to take a closer look at that number, but we're gonna have to find that money somewhere to complete that project as well. So one item of good news, I guess, two items of bad. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Greg? Greg, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, move on to a board action, and Jay, can you explain where we at with your summary?
It's the recommendation of the executive director that the downtown Adrian Main Street DDA board recommend to the city of Adrian that the property at 125 of 127 West Maumee Street is purchased for a nominal fee from the Illinois County Land Bank. So this is the property formerly known as Gene Christopher property. We've been working on some tentative plans for that property. And I have some photos that I can show you. Michelle, if you want to pull those up, they should be right in the packet there. If you want to scroll down. Yeah, go back up. So we have three plans. So the first one here, these are all very similar in nature. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the Gene Christopher lot. Along the rear of the building there is what's known as Maiden Lane. And then the right-hand side would be some buildings that the city owns that are in disrepair. So as you can see, this would involve potentially taking those buildings down, but really turning Maiden Lane back into a green space, creating that connection into the Gene Christopher lot. The thought behind bringing the Gene Christopher lot into the city scope is that will allow us to assume the liability for it as we move forward with mural projects for placemaking opportunities. We've actually rented the Gene Christopher lot 3 times so far this year. And we pay $1 each time. So that's not a significant cost to us, but it's just the time and paperwork for both us and the county land bank. And it makes sense for it to be, it's a downtown city property. It probably makes sense for us to own that. If you scroll down to the next view, Michelle, there you can see a little bit more of that concept. And then one more photo down, please. You can see how that space could be activated if there was an event. It gives you an alternate placemaking space where all those blue squares would represent tents or vendors potentially. And you would see on the street, this representation shows food trucks. It's not within our food truck ordinance. So just so everybody understands, it's just a concept from our architect showing that. But it gives you an option. If you scroll to the next photo, you can see a different version of that, provide some more green space, more trees in that area to really kind of make it park-like downtown. You'll notice in the Main Street section, you'll see some blue rectangles and a blue square. The blue square would be, it was also in the other photo as well. The blue square would be public restrooms downtown. So when we have events, there would actually be nice restrooms. We wouldn't be renting porta potties any longer. And the blue squares would be micro retail. So it gives us an opportunity to help that entrepreneurial ecosystem, build those businesses in a grassroots effort so they can start there and with the thought that they may grow into brick and mortars. You can go ahead and scroll down to the next one, Michelle. There's another version of that, and then go one more, please. And then again, you can see how this space would activate a little bit differently, but still have the same kind of activation available with for festivals, events, different things. And then the last concept you'll see here, this one really takes a lot of the green out and puts it more into concrete, but it expands that opportunity for the micro retail to grow back there in that area. On the Main Street portion, it gives us kind of a terrace where you can have more lighting. And then if you scroll down, you can see kind of how that goes there. And then the last one would be kind of how that would activate as a space. So a little bit differently, I would imagine as we continue to go through this, get some public input, that it would be a combination of these three that we see ultimately. But that's kind of how we want to activate that space and really make it part of the downtown and enlighten kind of the unused portions of our facilities.
Excellent. Any questions for Jay on that?
Deciding which those contracts might come to fruition or other properties. I know the keyword is popping up quite often. So I'm curious about overarching view.
So there's been discussions. There isn't a definite master plan. The city's going through kind of a process this fall that will help give us some guidance there. Personally, I see some opportunity in that North Winter Street parking lot where U Park is. With this process, I would see probably U Park going away to increase the parking that we would lose at Maiden Lane. And then that would open up some opportunities for future structure possibilities in that area. I think that gives us a pretty centrally focused location. And so that's personally what I see. Now, there hasn't been any definite discussions on that or plans going forward, but you bring up a great point that there's an opportunity there for us to move forward with that.
Other questions for Jay? So to clarify, this would be the city of Adrian purchasing the property for a nominal fee from the land bank. And all we're asking today is that we could get a motion to recommend this to the city commission. And so that they know that we've endorsed this acquisition. So can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion. Is there support? Is there further discussion?
I would say a little hesitant only because it seems like a major decision and it's hard to move forward and just further, you know.
So if it will help you, Jerry, there's no decision on the project. It's just a decision on the property. The city
So
is on the city, yes. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Other questions? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. All right, we'll move forward with that, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you.
On to committee reports, promotion committee. Meredith is not here. I think you're standing in for a little report here.
Yeah, so big hitters on the promotion committee is the promotion committee is working on kind of some rules and regulations for our social media as we expand our group and look forward to getting interns. We want to make sure that we have some kind of policies in place to really give the right direction on what we're putting out and representing Main Street. And that's really the big hitter from where we are.
Anything? Any questions for Jay on that? Anything to add? All right, thank you, Jay. On to First Fridays, Michelle.
Not really too much. June was the Hot Wheels event. July is Americana. We're meeting today with the Wagley Group to discuss, and the Humane Society to discuss dog days in August.
That meeting's right after this meeting, correct? In August. Any questions for Michelle on First Fridays? Thank you, Michelle. Is there a report for Town and Gown?
So Town and Gown, not specifically Town and Gown, but I am working with an offshoot of that. We are working with Siena Heights and Vaca. They're kind of driving the program, but they're looking at doing a national internship day. July 27th, I believe is the date. And what they're doing is trying to get all the community interns together and kind of a little celebration, but have them see some of the things in our community, share their stories, do some team bonding. They're talking somewhere in the excess of 75 interns in our community. So I think it's important that we as a downtown understand that these are people that we're looking to be future residents, contributors to our society and organization. So the more that we can interact with them and show them what we have to offer, the better it is.
Any questions on that? We're moving right along today. Dave.
Just band update, obviously. So I've booked tentatively, we still need to send them the contract, a Journey tribute band for Artilicious for that evening from 7 until probably about 9:30. Cost of the band was only 2,200. So I am going to start working with my sponsors and I will have a final number for you hopefully by next meeting. That's all I got.
On we go. Any questions for Dave? All right, we'll move to the organizational committee, and this gets to be humorous because I keep saying we're going to get together with our fundraising committee. But I will say that Phil that came to town is going to give us some tremendous marketing material, and now we have our branding material, and I think it's time that we really start making our rounds. So I know, Jerry, you were on the fundraising committee, me and Jay and Dave. So I would definitely be calling this meeting now because as soon as Phil will probably get that material to us fairly soon.
I would expect it within the next.
But I
week or so,
would like it to be seen from our donors to really see what we're doing down here. It really is going to be a great tool for us. So look to hear from me on that. Economic vitality, I don't believe
Did not meet now.
did not meet at this point. So we'll move to design committee and there is some sign approvals.
Yeah, so recommendation to sign committee, downtown Adrian Main Street Board recommend the approval of sign for Blessings and More resale shop at 117 East Maumee Street.
Is that those pictures in our?
Yep, it's the packet there in the packet. Yep. Go ahead, Michelle, scroll down.
Yeah, she would.
Michelle, can you scroll down towards the end?
Oh, you got them.
Yep, right there.
Yes. City,
Support.
Motion and support. On the,
Yeah, I would also support the other.
And that's it. That's for Reigns and Reigns Attorneys at Law at 123 North Main Street. And what they did for that one, they literally replaced the hanging sign to be that, and you can see the sample of what the hanging sign is right below it.
all right, there's been a motion to approve both of them, support from David.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you for your work on that. I think the Reigns and Reigns sign's already up.
It is.
I didn't say. All right, Tim, you got something for us?
Yeah. Some of the upcoming events, June 28th, our next cohort of Launch Runaway starts. I think that's our 5th or 6th, Jay, do you remember?
I believe it's 6.
6. I think we've got 7 or 8 students lined up right now. Another event that's happening today is a healthcare careers day camp that we partnered with ProMedica, SHU, and the Illinois Medical Care Facility on. It's free for 7th to 12th graders, basically to introduce them to medical careers. I don't want to say non-traditional, but we're looking at phlebotomy, biomedical technicians, pharmacy techs, medical assistants, infectious disease control, just activities all around the day to introduce the kids to different careers in the medical industry. And then lastly, externships. This will be our 3rd year where teachers, high school teachers or K-12 teachers and counselors, we help them find internships. We're calling them externships since they're teachers in industries around the county, give them a firsthand view of some of the jobs around the county. So when they go back into the classroom, they have firsthand experience to talk to the students about this kind of job, that kind of job. First year, I think we had 3 externs. Last year we had 12, and I think we're beating that number right now. The teachers really like it. The companies really like it. They usually go into the company for a very specific marketing related task or something. They have 80 hours and they get paid to do that. for a very specific task. Other than that, just our current project list is incredibly robust. I've got 5 projects that I'm pretty certain that we'll land this year. 5 manufacturers. We're talking probably 100 million plus in investment. 3 of them are existing manufacturers and 2 are attractions. So the RFPs, the projects are coming in very well and steady. I don't know about a recession, but our work remains going forward. Any questions?
Any questions for Tim? Awesome, thank you. Are there any other DDA matters you'd like to bring brought up today from our DDA? Or our Main Street? All right, I'll move on to public comment. If you'd like public comment, please come to the podium and identify yourself and your address.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Ashley Cavazos Frank, downtown resident. I just wanted to come forward 2 things. One, after the Cinco de Mayo miscommunication and things, I met with Brenda's staff and I met with Michelle Dewey just to kind of see what happened, where the miscommunication was. And I think we figured it out, and Michelle took great note and reached out for June to get some feedback from the M Society about the signs that were going up, what flag was used, is this appropriate? And I just wanted to give Michelle a shout out here that that's exactly how that kind of stuff should be done. You should reach out to the new lead chapter for the Latino leadership, the NAACP, the M Society, like that's why those organizations exist, and they were used perfectly for June. So thank you, Michelle. Second is, I was wondering if a guideline of ethics or something like that exists for businesses that participate in the DDA or benefit from your promotion. If there's some kind of standard of inclusion or something along those lines, that if a business is benefiting from all of these great things, the Main Street Board and all of your promotions, that they should be meeting a certain level of ethics in the community and being supportive and inclusive, and what kind of message they're sending, because one business downtown has a reputation for being exclusive or derogatory of the community that reflects on everyone downtown, residents, all of your businesses. It just takes one person to say, wow, downtown is really exclusive or bigoted or snobby, and I just didn't know if that was something you guys had taken into consideration of maybe having something like that. Just a bar to meet. And then if they fall below that, then maybe there's a conversation that's had with them. Just a thought that I had. Thank you.
Bob Benke, 256 Ironwood Drive, wearing my Lenawee ISD hat today for the Moriyama Student Exchange Program. So mark your calendars. October 25th, our students from Moriyama, Japan will arrive, and they will be here through Sunday, the 29th. As we've designed a new experience for the students, we have Downtown Adrian Day for them, October 27th. That's going to kick off at the LISD with a tour there, and then going across the street to Planewave to tour the facility. And then we're working with local businesses for essentially 10:30 to 4 for students to experience all aspects of Adrian. So if you have ideas that you would like us to highlight, one of the things that we're working on is a resource book for the host families, because we want them to provide a Lenawee unique opportunity for their exchange students while they're here. So we will be gathering those resources primarily from Adrian and from Tecumseh, where the bulk of the students host families are. So they have a great experience to go back to. And then also when our students travel from here to Moriyama in June of next year, they'll be given hopefully the exact same material. Now, remember, they're in Washington DC the week before, so there's big shoes to fill with Washington DC and then downtown Adrian, but I'm optimistic that we can get some things together. So please reach out and we can work on that. I know we're trying to work with the city as well on that front. So taking that hat off and putting on the Diversity Parade Fund hat, proud to announce that the Diversity Parade Fund was created to provide safe and welcoming celebrations, highlighting our culture and heritage here in the city of Adrian. And Civitan most recently worked with the Parade Fund for the Parade Fund to pay for their fees to the city. And most importantly, through that process, Civitan, which didn't have established standards for hate speech within the parade, has worked to establish new rules to ensure that there is not hate speech as part of the parade. So moving forward on that front to kind of couple what Ashley spoke about as well. Thank you. There's only 8 students that travel back and forth.
Thank you, Bob. Any other public comment at this time? All right, move to chair comments. So this meeting today, right after when we close it, we're going to have our annual meeting. And then after that, we're going to go into, no, before the annual meeting, sorry, after this meeting, we're going to go into closed session in the back here to do Jay's review. And then we'll come back out and we'll do our annual meeting. At this time, every year, we have a succession of people who have come to their end. There are no term limits. However, Brad is going to be stepping down from his spot at this point in time, and Margaret. And what I want to say is I can't thank you enough, and I think the whole board would agree. We go back in time when we think about where we were when we started, and you guys were there with us and you walked through it. And I always remember Brad saying, what is it that the DDA can point toward that we've done downtown? And we have been able now to point to a lot of things. And again, with the partnership with the city and their support, we've had some amazing progress. And I think the progress continues at a rapid pace as we move forward with things like the riverfront, maybe the Maiden Lane project, and all the things that we're starting to develop to be inclusive and to really reflect our community and do it the right way. So Brad, I can't thank you enough for your great work. I appreciate it. And Margaret, gosh, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. I'll give him a hand. Yeah. So with that, there'll be 2 openings on the DDA. So we'll start the posting process for application. There are some people we've been communicating with early on, but we're going to be minus a resident in downtown Adrian. And we have to have that as part of our bylaws. And so Brad was the trifecta, and we're losing the trifecta. He had the building, the business, and the residency. So he kept those check marks for us for a long time. So just so you know, that we'll be posting that soon, and we'll continue, and the interview committee will be going through interviews as we move forward. So thank you. With that, is there any other matters? All right, we'll adjourn. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just wanted to let everyone know that one of the people that was in charge of Back to the Bricks was talking to me on Friday night, and she said that Adrian was beyond welcoming. She said, I don't want to bash other communities, but she said most of them close their businesses, do not give us access to bathrooms. Their restaurants close up, like we're in their area and they close everything up. She said, we can't believe it. We have access to restaurants, to food, to shopping, which a lot of them were really appreciative, and a lot of them were shopping. I saw a lot of bags coming out of stores from the Back to the Bricks promo tour group. But she said just access to nice bathrooms, not porta johns, and just having things open. She said a lot of the other communities just close everything up because they're coming in with all these people. And she said that she was just very surprised, gracious, and grateful that our businesses were so welcoming and open and just really receptive. So I just wanted to pass that along, and that, it's good to hear. Sometimes you don't always hear that. So that, was just really good for that affirmation that, what we're doing downtown and staying open and having those resources is very appreciated.
Thank you. Do they plan on coming back?
So they said they would love to be here every year. It's a bid process every year. It's dependent on how their routes are traveled. So we will, we'll keep our ears open and see if we can bring them back.
All right, thank you. Any other board comments? I'll entertain a motion to move into closed session. Move and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes, a little bit.
Few minutes, a little bit.
All right, for the record, we as a group evaluated J Marks, and the evaluation was positive. There were a number of items that we discussed that need work. So it wasn't just, you did great kind of thing. It was an open discussion. I think it went fantastic because we were very realistic with our organization and with Jay. But I think we're very happy with his work, and we believe he will continue to grow in his position. So thank you for going through that process.
Thank you.
All right. Upcoming meetings, Juneteenth celebration, June 17th, walk up Wednesday tentatively on June 21st and July. But I don't even know what.
Yeah, so Walk Up Wednesday, we are working with the promotion committee. We are trying to establish food truck rallies on Wednesdays in the Farmers Market Pavilion. The reason it's tentative is because I only have 2 food trucks committed, and I think we need a bigger support than that. We do have some music lined up for those as well, so we'll have some entertainment out there. So if I can get you at least 4 food trucks, I'm gonna promote the heck out of it. I'm waiting for some calls back today to get that confirmed. And just trying something new. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
Would be 5 to 9 on Wednesdays.
And then July 1st Friday is on July 7th, and I saw some of the marketing, and it looked really cool, and I saw your comments, Darcy, so there will be some movement as we go throughout the year of absorbing our new logos and the like. I am communicating with the various groups like Juneteenth and like Pride. And I talked to Bob directly, and I said, we need to take that down to your committee, you take ownership, you make your own logo, just make sure the maple leaf's in it in those colors. And so we're beginning that process of really moving on that, and it'll take a little while. So I appreciate everybody's open and willingness to work forward on that. With that, I'll adjourn this meeting. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting, I guess, not really.
So moved.
So, and support. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Jim Kane really does not like that. He read the rules of, or Robert's Rules of Order. He said, I've read him front and back, and never says anything about it. So anyway.
Okay.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order of our annual meeting for the Main Street Board of Directors, and you've done roll call already. And can we get a motion to approve this agenda? Is it in support? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. We have an agenda for our annual meeting. Committee reports. It's the organizational committee, and this is the time where we adopt our slate of officers. At this time, I would greatly appreciate and continue to work as your chairman and be humble, and thank you for that. If it's so your choice. Dave, if you would continue as vice chair, really appreciate that. Brad, you've come off. Anybody want to be treasurer? If you would like, because Brad, and I've asked a few people, but if not, we can leave it open right now. And if when we get new people, if they want to have that, but I think a lot of people have different specialties and we may have to leave that open. It's up to anybody here. And then Meredith said she'd love to continue as secretary. So just to be clear on this, we need a resident and then we need is it an at-large?
At large is available, yes.
Yeah, so we've talked to a few people, but a resident downtown, we've been identifying them and seeing who can be the best for that. So I'll let you know as we move forward. So with that said, is there any discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the slate of officers. There's a motion and there's support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same.
And just as a stopgap, I will get the documentation from the city of Adrian for all the financial reports going forward until the treasury roll is filled. So we'll still have the same information and just come to you guys the same way. And I'll try to provide, I'll try to live up to Brad's standard of providing some information as we go along.
Summary sheets. I like it in big letters. That was great.
But are you gonna sign it, Brad, the coolest treasurer ever? I saw that, Brad. Don't worry. I saw it.
I didn't even notice. That's funny. So normally in this meeting, and I didn't think about this until, was it yesterday or the day before? But we usually have a little presentation of what we've accomplished as a group for the year. And so we'll do that next meeting. We're going to get something prepared just to show like the downtown lights in partnership with the city and some of the things that's happened from, all in this last year. So we'll do it in the next meeting, but that was my fault for not thinking about it because we usually do it in this annual meeting. So we'll just do that, just sort of reflect on where we came from. Official notice of monthly meetings. Meetings take place at 8 a.m. on the second Wednesday of every month in the city chambers, July 12th, 2023.
Yeah, I just listed them. Yep.
List them all out just so it's on record. It's sort of a notification of meeting blanket, if you will. We did this at the KRTA as well, just sort of tell you what they're coming for the year. But Michelle will continue and they continue to give public notice because of Zoom and all that. So that'll happen anyway. With that, is there any public comment? There's nobody here. So I think I'm safe to move forward. Other DDA matters. Board member comments.
I just want to say thank you again, Margaret and VRAT, for your long support of the DDA, and I imagine you'll be still on the outlines helping us.
Yeah, I may get on a committee or something. Like a subcommittee,
Be the
I don't know.
best subcommittee member ever.
I'll think about it and pick the funnest one.
That's a question Margaret asked me too, and I said, if this works right, if it does what it's supposed to be, we'll have numerous community members on our committees, and our committees will be robust. And we want to continue to work to that end. So.
So you're getting volunteers.
Right? I got two. It's fast work, man. Right after the review. All right. Any other matters? Motion to adjourn?
Support.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed the same. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.